Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to this episode, another episode of Life, Love, and Conservation. I am your Life, Love, and Conservation, your LLC host, Carolyn Hennesy. Welcome to my flop house. And I've got a couple of animals. I don't know if you can see. There's Sophie Tucker. And they're sitting right here. Yes, they're just sort of nestled. I've got Sophie Tucker on this side and Liza Jane on this side. And they're going to be with me today as we talk about life, love, and we have a wonderful guest for our conservation episode. But first, let's say hello to our producer, Eric. Hello, producer Eric.
Hey, how you doing?
Fantastic. How are you?
Oh, good. I'm just working and producing.
You're multitasking.
Yes, I am, and loving it, of course.
So you are in your office.
I am
doing fantastic things, and you're at the same time, doing dials and switches and levers in order for me to look semi-decent.
No, definitely. No. You always look decent. I've seen you up close, very up close.
And you
always look amazing.
Up close in person with very little makeup on.
Yes.
Yeah,
no.
and you did not run away. You did not scurry away.
I did not know. Oh my gosh. Well,
we're gonna come back to producer Eric throughout the show. But I want to say that our sponsor has still held from last week to this week. So hopefully this is a sponsor that will stick. It is Univera, and it's kind of interesting what we're going to talk about in the life episode today. I've got to tell you, the two things that I have now used religiously for about, I'm going to say it's about 12, 13 days now, not quite a full 2 weeks, are these. They have a botanity line. Univera has a botanity line, and that's their skincare line. And the Flavon serum and the Machiol sebum serum are like God's little gift. God's little gift, because even at my age, and yeah, I just turned 60. Thank you. We still deal with a little bit of oil, so that's what this is for. Fantastic. And then this is just, I don't know what it is. I don't know what's in it. I know that God came down and did a little dance around this particular product. So there you have it. And so thank you, Univera, for keeping me looking good. And interestingly enough, what I wanted to talk to you about today in the life segment, Sophie Tucker is just, she's so excited about this. I wanted to talk to you. We sent out kind of a questionnaire on the Facebook page, I guess a number of different places, about what you guys wanted to hear my particular perspective upon, because that's really, why else am I doing this podcast? I'm telling you all about me. And one of the questions was, what is your beauty regimen? And I thought, well, if I tell them, are they asking so that they don't do it? Maybe not. Maybe they'd actually like to know. It's like, maybe I'm the "Don't let this happen to you" chapter in the book. But on the off chance that you guys would actually like to know, and men, don't leave, because it's applicable to everybody. Seriously. So what is my beauty regimen? And I was really very touched and very flattered that someone wanted to know. So here it is. Basically 4 things. But I'm going to start with what I don't do. Okay? Take this for what it is worth. I don't take my makeup off every night. Seriously? No, I don't. Because sometimes I will come home from the studio and it's all I can do to feed them. And then I literally fall into bed. So it's either I'm too busy, I'm too tired, or I'm too lazy. So yeah, that's gone on for years. I just do not take my makeup off. And as everyone has been told, that's the critical thing that everyone must do. Well, I don't. Okay. Take that however you will. I also will say this. I drew a long straw when it comes to genes and chromosomes, when it comes to, good stock, good lineage, because the Hennessy's, the Rushes, the Simonsons, that's all me. the Simonsons, particularly Norwegian stock, don't tend not to wrinkle early. So I got that going. Because this face has never been cut into, and God willing, it never will be. So the 4 things that I do is, number 1, I stay out of the sun. Don't go in the sun, people. Be a mole person. Burrow deep. Don't go in the sun. And men, this is for you too. I mean, I think the last time I was in the sun, I was 15 years old, so many years ago. And that's when, with the olive oil and the Johnson's baby oil or whatever it is. And I mean, the damage, I'm still paying for that damage. Truly, I am, on my Irish skin, but I'm still paying for it. So don't go in the sun. Hat, sunscreen, you name it, because that alone will add years to your life. Another thing I did is I quit drinking. I quit drinking coming up on 22 years ago, God willing, and the creek don't rise. That will save you, because you can pickle yourself. You can tan yourself and pickle yourself, and you end up looking like a saddlebag. So don't do that. The other thing that I do, or another thing that I do, is except I'll tell you something, except for these products, I will not be doing what I'm about to tell you with these products. And that is being, I am sure, a reincarnated apothecary, someone who likes to mix stuff, alchemy, science, formulas. I will just combine a whole bunch of stuff into a pot. And if it needs to be refrigerated, I'll stick it in the refrigerator and slather it on. Because you never, so can I say that I have favorite products? Well, yes, now, but before I couldn't really, because I never knew what was working and what wasn't. So I am lucky enough in the profession that I've chosen to have been gifted a lot of things. So I'm gifted a lot of other serums and retinol this and, anti-aging, vitamin C, whatever. So it all goes in kind of into a pot. So I will slather that. And the third thing that I do, not the last, the third thing that I do is I basically stick my face in moisturizer as often as I can. Just slather it on. Because first of all, if you have a favorite product, that's great, but keep it on as much as possible. Stay oily. And so yeah, I slather it on. I was going somewhere with that sentence and I forgot, but it doesn't matter, because oily, slather, moisturizer. If you've got, as I said, yeah, if you've got a favorite product, do it. And I've got a lot of them in one pot. But I actually have not been using that for a while, because I've been using these shenanigans here. The fourth and final thing is the most important. It is the most important of anything. No sun, lots of water. Yes, lots of water. Moisturize. Whatever else. But the fourth thing is attitude. Everything's in the attitude. Men, this is for you too, because attitude can then be extrapolated to every other aspect of your life. I get asked on the red carpet a lot, hey, what's your beauty secret? Hey, blah, 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 blah. And the first thing out of my mouth is usually the most important, and that's attitude. Because if you walk into a room and you say, I'm going to own this room, I'm not going to be arrogant, I'm not going to put on airs, but I simply am going to own the room. If you have an internal confidence, then I swear to God, you could walk around with no makeup, wearing a gunny sack. You could walk down Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills, and the next day, people would be walking around with no makeup in gunny sacks. If you have the kind of confidence, now that is so much easier said than done in this day and age, but it is something to truly strive for. Honestly, if you can, whatever books you need to read, whatever mindset you need to get into, it's that confidence that says, I am beautiful inside and out. Again, It's the old saying, beauty is an inside job, and it's the God's honest truth. Thank you. Arbuckle. Arbuckle is wandering around on the floor. He agrees because he's beautiful. Again, so much easier said than done. But understand that your uniqueness contributes to your beauty. There's nobody else on this planet like you. No matter what you may think of your physical self, there's nobody else like you. And there never, ever will be. That's good and bad. But if you can dig deep and find the good, and then own it and radiate it out, I guarantee you, you will be the most beautiful person in the room. Truly. You will be magnetic. You will be charismatic. They say that charisma is something that, you're just born with. Wrong. Wrong. Maybe that last little spark, but charisma, you can have it. You can absolutely have it. You will be the most enticing and attractive person in any room if you understand that you are utterly unique and that you are truly beautiful from the inside out. Deal with your flaws, deal with your foibles as you will. We all have demons, absolutely. But understand that is the key and final component to my beauty regimen. So I give that to you. Please develop that attitude of I own myself, and now I'm going to own you. So there you go. There you go. It's an interesting segue too, because Eric and I, producer Eric, hello, producer Eric. He and I were talking earlier today. We were talking about the love component of this particular episode. And just as attitude is the most important component for anyone's beauty regimen, for anyone's self-esteem, it also is the key medication, the key salve, the key balm, if you will, the key component, again, that word component, to helping you heal. For me, at least it always has been. From an unrequited love, from a fading love, from damaged or broken love. Because we put so much import and emphasis and stress on what someone else thinks about us, on what someone that we love or have a limerence for, or attracted to, or infatuated, on what they think of us. That's where we get into serious trouble. I know I have in the past. Serious trouble. We start rearranging our jigsaw puzzle for them. It's like, oh, you know what? I'm just going to, it doesn't fit, but this is what they would like to see. So I'm just going to try and pound this right in right here. Naturally, it all falls apart. It all falls apart. Broken hearts can be the most, I mean, there's no greater pain on the planet. But as I have gotten older, thank you, 60 on June 10th, thank you. And have had to, and have taken a step back and looked and kind of tried to analyze, with the help of professionals and sometimes not, my relationships, my unrequiteds, my fading or broken loves. I have realized that the faster I can get down to that place of its attitude, how do I view myself? How do I view myself? The faster I can get back to some sense of normalcy, the faster I can start eating again. Do you know what I mean? Because, with a broken heart, you never want to eat. So again, understand that very often the way you feel about yourself, that you can take personally. That you can absolutely take personally. The way someone else feels about you, hate to say it, kids, but you can't take it personally. Whether they hate you or whether they love you. And I know that that is a very difficult concept to sort of understand. But what they love about you is the way you make them feel about themselves. So to say I love you after you've known someone for a week, please. After you've known someone for 6 months, probably not. I give it a good year and a half, because they don't know you enough to love you. And again, loving for almost everybody means that this person makes me feel so fabulous about myself. I love what I see in you. I love what I see in you, and how it is reflecting me. So if once I learned, and it's a hard lesson, again, it's attitude, that you can't take anything personally. It's one of the great 4 agreements, Don Miguel Ruiz. Don't take anything personally. Nothing. How they hate you, how they're indifferent to you, how they love you. If you can have that at the forefront of your thinking when you enter into any love relationship, then, God forbid, it goes south. You have that cornerstone. You have that foundation. So that's just something that has helped me. How about you, producer Eric? How do you? Well, of course, Eric and his husband V2. I mean, they actually do. They actually can take how each other feels about them personally. It's crazy. Crazy. Yeah.
But it took us a lot of work to get there, and it's something that we definitely work on every day, and it's something I'm grateful for, and I definitely don't take for granted.
No. And you are such a strong person, producer Eric. I haven't yet to meet you two, and I am desperate to meet. I cannot wait to meet.
I know
you are such a strong, because your attitude about life, about physical appearance, about so many aspects of life, and certainly when you were describing the initial meeting of V2 and the conversations around are we going to stick together, and what the parameters were, and the fact that you were so totally honest with each other, because you have the best attitude about yourself.
It took me a long time. I remember when I went through a really bad breakup before I met V2, and it took a few years to get over that breakup. And I remember when I first started dating him, I felt like I was still cheating on my ex, which was very weird, because it'd been over 2 years at that point. And I confided in someone about it, and I said, hey, this is a weird feeling, because obviously my ex and I were not together. And this person said, you need to make a choice that you can create more love, because there's no limit to the amount of love that you can create for yourself.
Absolutely.
And it was the best advice I ever got, because I was like, oh, you're right. It's not that I was lying in the past or anything like that, but it's like I get to choose to create this love, and I can create as much.
That's it. It's that attitude of I am strong enough, I am enough for myself, I can choose or not choose to bring love into me.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Into my world, into my sphere.
Yeah.
But it's the owning of the wonderfulness.
Yeah.
It's the owning of yourself in entirety, but then truly owning of the gifts that you give yourself every day, and the gifts that you give, and therefore what you have to give to everybody else.
No, definitely. And anyways, and it goes with friendships too. It's like you and I have been kindred spirits since we met.
Right. And it's only been like 6, 7, 8 years?
Yeah.
Seriously. I have friendships, people I've known for 35, 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't tell you a lot about them. I've known them. People say hi, throw my arms around them. Hey. But it's there's this wonderful concept that I personally ascribe to. Anyone else has a different philosophy? Absolutely, more power. But is that souls, right? Reincarnate in packs, in groups, right? Yeah. So God only knows what our relationship was.
Oh no, I agree. It's
but when you and I know audience, you will have these people in your life, and you meet them, and you almost instantly go, oh, there you are. Where have you been? I've been looking for you.
Because it's hard to explain. Like when I'm in your space, I feel it's very healing for me, like just on a deep soulful level. Like when I crashed your flop house, this last time,
That's right.
I just remember waking up in the morning and be like, oh, life is perfect.
Yeah. 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 Well, yes. Once you walk down that driveway and the big gate shuts behind you and the world kind of goes and you're enclosed in this little jewel box, it's like perfection. Perfection. Yes.
But it's also great because of you create an amazing safe space because you are very giving with your love.
Well, well, thank you. And I've been gifted with a lot of love, so I have to give it back. That's incumbent. So now I have animals. I have los animales all around me. So we must now bring on our fabulous guest. Let's talk about conservation.
Let me bring in someone who I love dearly, who I've known since 2010.
12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me bring in the one and the only Clay Carbajal. Welcome, Clay.
And the stadium erupts. Everybody's on their feet. Yay!
Stop it.
No. Stop it. Hello. How are you, my friend?
I'm great, Carolyn. Hello, Eric. Hello to this whole show. Hello, everyone.
Yeah, well, yes. And believe me, I truly have the best listeners. And it keeps growing and growing and growing. Now, here's what's interesting. Clay, I don't know why. It was an utter oversight on my part, but we'll just say it was an oversight on either Gray Stafford's or Eric's part.
Yeah, probably Gray.
We didn't have you on animal magnetism when the whole show was dedicated to animals. So I am so honored. I mean, and silly. I am so honored that you are our first animal conservation preservation guest.
Wow, this is huge. I didn't know. I mean, I guess, yeah, you're right. I mean, that's a big thing for me. I really appreciate being the first.
I'm so honored.
Wow.
I'm getting a little verklempt. So so hang on. You were in the past one of what I call them the heroes of SeaWorld. Because there's not only SeaWorld San Diego, SeaWorld Orlando, SeaWorld San Antonio.
Yeah.
They closed down SeaWorld in Ohio.
Yes,
right?
in Aurora. That's correct.
But there are still the big three, right? And then you said enough of the politics of SeaWorld, which we can talk about on another show.
Yeah, we could fill a whole episode.
Yeah. And you left, and now you are the director of conservation.
Yeah, so I'm the supervisor of conservation for the Abilene Zoo, and you're right. I mean, I spent 17 years of my life. I grew up at SeaWorld. I spent more of my life working at SeaWorld than I have living the other half. Like, that's how much I was there.
Oh, because you're so young.
I was so young when I started, but I think that I moved on. My moving on was less about leaving the politics, and it was more about or the direction of where everything was going. And it was more about over the 17 years I had been molded into someone who had become extremely passionate about species I never knew about before. I've loved animals and wildlife my entire life. My whole goal in life was to talk about wildlife, to preserve wildlife, to conserve wildlife. That's all I ever wanted to do. SeaWorld gave me the opportunity to do that. And after I felt like I had these tools in my toolbox, I saw an opportunity to move to a facility that was looking to build that and start that and grow that. And we moved to the Abilene Zoo in Abilene, Texas. And I say we because my wife and I are both employed there. She's the manager of the education department, and I oversee the conservation fund and the animal ambassador team, among other things.
So it's a family affair.
It is a family affair. She gets,
Did you meet your wife at SeaWorld?
I saw her from across the dolphin pool. But if you want to talk about a funny story, here's a funny story. I didn't know how dating really worked very well. I guess I'm a dumb guy. So she had invited me to a SeaWorld Halloween party, like a preview party at the park. And I thought it was a friend thing. So Carolyn, I took a date to my first date.
You what?
I took a date to my first date.
And she still spoke to you?
No, she didn't. That entire night she wouldn't speak. So I went, what's going on? I thought you invited me. Why aren't we talking? I thought we were going to hang out. And I was on the phone afterwards. And the quote that's burned in the back of my brain is, I like you, you idiot. And she hung up the phone on me. And I felt terrible.
As you should have.
Oh, it was horrendous.
As you should have.
I didn't even think about it.
See, now that was a girl with the right attitude.
Yeah.
It's like, you mofo. What's wrong with you? Look how fabulous I am. You bring somebody else. What are you talking about?
So the very next day, I said, I got to make it up to her. I had asked her, would you go to lunch with me? Lunch is harmless. It's a nice, I feel like lunch can heal bonds very easily.
Depending.
And from that day forward, we began dating, and we've never stopped dating. I mean, we have 3 kids now, and life's great.
Tell me you did not take her to the SeaWorld employee cafeteria.
I did not.
Okay, good. Because then I would actually have to sit.
Although the food was terrific there. If those ladies are watching, I love your food.
Seriously. Oh my God.
So yes, so we spent so much time at SeaWorld. I was a part of dolphin teams and sea lion teams and animal ambassador teams. For a brief period, I was part of the marketing team, the education team. So I got this really well-rounded wealth of knowledge from iconic animal behaviorists, animal care specialists, animal rescuers. Oh my gosh, Jack Hanna. If we can pause on him for a second.
Jack Hanna.
He is
just a couple of minutes on Jungle Jack Hanna.
Great hero. You know, they say never meet your heroes. Well, I did, and he continues to be awesome. He's dealing with, dementia and things of that sort, and that's terribly sad. But I got to work with him for a number of years. He inspired me to talk about wildlife. He was always so personable. Every child I had, he would always send a care package from the Abilene Zoo, Christmas cards. I mean, we became very, very good friends. And I'm still praying for you, Jack. I love you, Jack, and especially if you're watching this. But he inspired me to kind of continue to have my voice on conservation, my voice on wildlife. And I've given homage to Jack with a little bit of a YouTube series I'm doing called The Wild Side with Clay, where I try to show people species, talk specifically about them, specifically about their conservation, but in a respectful manner. I'm not trying to get bit in the face or chased out of the savannah. I want people to respect the wildlife, respect the creatures, and the people that care for them. Genius.
Talk to me about some of the projects that you are now responsible for at the Abilene Zoo. And by the way, I would like to go. It says I have 20% battery remaining.
We better talk fast. All
right, well, let's talk fast. I can also try and plug it in.
Plug it in. The conservation fund at the Abilene Zoo had already been established, but it was what they would do is they would collect quarters from one of those vortexes and then donate them to different conservation groups. So upon my arrival, I decided to go for what the SeaWorld Busch Gardens Conservation Fund did. A fund that the people could contribute, and then we could go affect wildlife conservation globally. Just this year alone, we've donated to the Giraffe Conservation Foundation, the International Rhino Foundation, Lemur Love. There's one that I can't say because it's in Malagasy, so I butcher it every time. But it's like the Malagasy Rufagamunga. I can never do it. I'm not.
Okay, listen. Yeah. Had you not said that, we would all go, oh yeah.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one. Flora and fauna of Madagascar. We are currently working on granting money to anteaters and highways, which is a terrific conservation project, which collars giant anteaters, tracks their movements around South America. And if they're in human conflict, if they're near roadways, they build these underground tunnels under these roadways for wildlife to traverse and not get hit by vehicles. And the way we marry at Carolyn's really fun. We try to give the people here in West Texas the ability to feel like they're a part of the conservation. So when we had our baby giant anteaters born, we had twins, beautiful boy and girl. We decided to name our male after one of the conservationists in the field. And they were lovely enough to make a video for our exhibit. So now people here in West Texas can learn of the conservation their zoo is helping to support. As far as boots on the ground, we're trying to do more work with the conservation of snakes in the southeastern portions of the United States. The evaluations of rattlesnakes, endangered rattlesnakes in Minnesota, And we're building our program slowly but surely. We're a very small team, a lot of heart. But SeaWorld Busch Gardens gave me opportunities that I would never have gotten, Carolyn. I'm so thankful for those.
Absolutely.
Africa, rescue trips. But now it's time to share that knowledge and build the generation coming up behind me. My job is to make them better than me.
And I have no doubt that you will. Everything that you are doing, Clay. And again, we're going to have you back on the show. I'd love to talk about a little bit more about your training at SeaWorld and speak to some of the great conservation, preservation, the rescue, rehabilitate, release programs that I know you were involved with.
Yeah.
But Eric, come on in on this. What you're doing speaks exactly to what he and I believe were talking about last week and even the week before, when we talked about how important zoos are. They are no longer just the isolated little arcs, the isolated this, and we have our collection and you have your collection.
Yes.
No, it all intermarries. It is all so important, and even the smallest teams at zoos can have global international impact, and that's
You're absolutely right.
Well,
Just today alone, I was 3.5 hours away from Abilene, working for the Abilene Zoo at another facility, talking with their conservationists and their teams, learning about fish species I'd never even heard of. But that's the beauty of it. It's not just lions and pandas, right, Eric? It's not polar bears and elephants only. It's newts. It's vinegaroons. It's fish.
Yes.
Well, but also
conserving the planet.
It's also what the Abilene Zoo does with your bird rehabilitation programs for
That's
local bird
absolutely
species.
correct. Thank you for bringing that up here. We do have an on-site bird rehabilitation center. That is active conservation work that we are doing. Right now it's birding season. We probably get 20 birds in a day brought to our rescue. We rehabilitate and we release, or we find a better home for them. But the reality is, just like any rescue we've ever done, some of those rescues don't result in positive outcomes.
Sure.
Some of those rescues, it's hard to see that, but it's part of life. This Tuesday, I'll be releasing a great horned owl along with our bird rehab team that came in as a chick, and we did something innovative. We gave that chick to one of our owls in the zoo and said, you know what? You've been laying eggs. You have no mate. You're not going to have a chick in those eggs. Let's swap-a-roo and let you raise a chick. And she did. She raised this chick, and now this chick has grown into a fledgling, and now is beginning to hunt in the habitat on its own. And on Tuesday, we're releasing that fledgling, now that it's fully adulted feathers, back to where it was rescued from in the nest. And that's the power of zoos right there.
Right there. And I'll tell you something, we see a lot of stories about animals en masse. There are lots of animals that are not as lucky as that fledgling. But I'll tell you something, every success story is heartwarming and heartbreaking, and it's you just cheer. You know what I mean? It's like you want to, and the more we can, it's like a string of pearls, and you just keep stringing those pearls, and pretty soon, worldwide, I think hopefully the mindset will be such that we will have this wonderful pearl necklace, and it may not be in our lifetime, but we can't stop. We cannot stop doing it.
The foundation is being laid before your very eyes right now.
Right.
The zoos, just in the 3 of our lifetimes, zoos have evolved from a place that people were like, oh yeah, look at the monkey in the cage.
Right.
To look at this beautiful dynamic habitat full of enrichment and species survival plans. But I have to say something we could not do. I say we as an entire zoological industry. We cannot survive without people like you two. You two have a platform that you're able to speak about the good that we do. And it really, Eric knows, for some of those darker years when we were with SeaWorld and Busch Gardens, when the public really was coming at us, it was so nice to go through my Twitter from time to time and say, hey, thank you for inspiring me. Yeah. And the last day I was at SeaWorld San Antonio, I had a young lady come up to me who had just started animal training. She was brand new at it. And I never really talked to her. And she's bawling that I'm leaving. And she said one sentence to me that she could get out. And she said, thank you for inspiring my childhood. And I thought to myself, I would have never thought that. but it's kind of what you said earlier. It's the confidence within. But with me, I have another little life hack. It's try to be kind and genuine to everyone you can. You never know who you're going to influence or inspire down the line. Try to build them up.
Of course, absolutely. Now listen, speaking of, inspiring people and reaching people, where can the people that this podcast will reach, where can they find where can they donate to the zoo? Where can they get, if they wanted to ask you a question? Would you be willing to share like maybe a work email or how can they find you? How can they find the Abilene Zoo? How can they donate? How can they can help you continue your work?
Well, the Abilene Zoo we're a very small Texas zoo. We're 16 acres, but we're expanding. We're doubling in size, larger habitats, more dynamic habitats. It really is a revolution. Part of the draw for my wife and I to move to Abilene. But if you want to help the zoo, you can go to that website right there, abilenezoo.org, and you can click on the donate button. And you can donate to our conservation fund, to our bird rehab, or just to the general fund itself and help our little tiny nonprofit zoo grow into what I'm promising you will be one of the most premier zoos in the United States. We're really going to up the game there.
If not the world. So you are a world-class zoo in the making.
We
right?
are the world-class zoo in the making.
Yeah.
We're the best zoo in Abilene, that's for sure. We're going to be the best zoo around, I promise you. If you want to get a hold of me, you can always find me through social media at Clay Carbajal. There's my name. Or you can find me through my YouTube show, The Wild Side with Clay, and click the email button. I answer every question I can, whether it's career advice, whether it's animal training advice, whether it's a conservation question or an animal fact question. I'm here to share this. This isn't mine. This is y'all's. You can take what I've learned and be better for it.
Fantastic. Yeah.
And Eric knows that I try to help as many people as I can.
He does.
Listen, as you do, we're trying to do that with this. Eric helps so many people, so many animals. So this is a wonderful and totally triumvirate. And will you please come back on this show?
Oh, I would love to. We got so much to talk about: animal rescues, conservation work in Africa, baby animals.
You know what? We may. I think before the year is out, maybe sooner rather than later. I hope. Maybe we'll just do a life, love, and conservation with Clay Carbajal, and we'll just we'll talk about your life, your loves, and more about conservation. How's that?
As long as I don't have to bring up I took a date to my first date story again.
You just did.
Yeah,
I'm so
sorry.
Yeah. I mean, that's a woman. You got a good one.
And fun fact, she also is my camera person on the Wild Side. So every time I'm shooting, she's my visual, my camera girl. She's the one doing it all and
love it.
telling me what to do and telling me what not to say. She's pretty good at all that.
And we'd like to meet your kids. We want to meet the family.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
How old are they?
I have an 8, a 6, and a 4-year-old. But here's my problem, Carolyn. Here's the real issue. I can't impress them.
No.
Because they've grown up around wildlife. We had baby warthogs in the house. We're about to have a baby roadrunner running around this house.
I mean, I'm sorry. Two-legged people cannot compete.
They don't. Dolphins, sea lions, whales, elephants. Nothing amazes them anymore. Video games, sure. Yourself and some of the productions you've definitely been in, definitely. But if I bring an animal to them, they're like, oh yeah, that's normal.
Well, I in a shameless shill for the book series, if you'd like to impress your 8-year-old, get them the Pandora book series.
Oh,
what?
I definitely will.
Yeah. Eric and I can work on that with you. And
I appreciate
anyone else out there that's got a 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old
Yes.
Pandora gets jealous. That's the first book. Enough about me. Okay, thank you, Clay. Thank you so much
Honor.
for being our first guest.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Carolyn.
We'll see
Life,
you
love,
again
and conservation to each and every one of you.
soon. Okay,
We'll talk to you
fantastic.
soon, Clay.
Thank you. All right, kids.
Well, I will bid adieu, and it's always been good.
Bye, producer Eric. Yes, this was a fun. We got to talk about my face. I still laugh. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I really do, because Lord knows we have fun bringing this to you. Again, research Clay Carbajal. Donate to the Abilene Zoo every week. We're gonna give you something you can do, something small, something maybe free, maybe it just costs you a few little shekels. If you find $1, donate it to the Abilene Zoo. And so that's your task for this episode. Um, again, we just have the best time bringing it to you. So, producer Eric, thank you, and I love you madly. Oh, I guess he's gone. I guess this is just me wrapping up. It's the closing monologue. I got nothing except to say that I am so appreciative of every one of you watching this. And God willing and the creek don't rise, you all will know so much about me. I'd give it a year. And then there's just going to be nothing. You know, you all will know everything. So we will see you next time. Liza Jane says goodbye. We'll see you again on Life, Love, and Conservation with me, your LLC host, Carolyn Hennesy.